Oh, what it is, people, my name is Batman, and the other day Titanfall busted out a new wave defense playlist called Frontier Defense, and if you still have the game, it's definitely something worth checking out because it's free. This is how the free market is supposed to work. This is a textbook example of how awesome it would be to be a gamer if the major publishers would stop aiming below the belt. Titanfall is fighting for attention and players, right? A bunch of new games have come out, and that has undoubtedly hurt their player populations and playtime. So in response, they came out with some really cool content free of charge. That's how it's supposed to work. They compete, we win. This is capitalism at its finest, and I found it very refreshing. And again, if it had cost money, I might not be as receptive of it just because it's on the same multiplayer maps, and as a general rule for wave defense, to earn my praise, it has to have its own maps, and I talked a little bit about that in that Exo Survival video a while back. When the maps aren't designed for wave defense, they don't complement the gameplay as effectively, and a lot of the time you have huge sections of the map that basically just go untouched, as was the case with MW3 Survival, and as is what I'm kind of expecting in Exo Survival. It's a somewhat restricted or watered down wave defense experience when compared to something like Extinction or Zombies, which has its own maps, designed entirely with wave defense in mind, and thus can provide much more meaningful gameplay just through the diversity of tactics available at various parts of the map and extra substance and narrative that is present when a developer is building a wave defense map as opposed to trying to fit wave defense into a multiplayer map. However, Titanfall's MP maps work rather splendidly with wave defense just because these maps were always designed with massive amounts of AI combat in mind, because Titanfall's multiplayer has a lot of AI involvement to begin with. And because of that, these maps I think mesh with the wave defense game mode much more effectively than, say, you know, Ghost Squad Safeguard mode on Stonehaven. The map just doesn't really complement the experience because it's not designed with that experience in mind. It's like trying to cook pizza in a pot. It's possible, but it won't fit properly and thus won't provide the optimal qualitative experience. And so what I'm saying is, Titanfall wave defense doesn't suffer that same hit to quality because pizza was always a part of the equation. Ultimately, I think what makes Frontier Defense fun is basically the same thing that makes Titanfall multiplayer so fun. They're really good at making you feel like a badass while still giving you a challenge. You know, you feel pretty hardcore when your turrets are doing work and you're mowing down or walking over massive amounts of infantry and you shoot an enemy dropship out of there, but then it's very challenging to defend your harvester when it doesn't self-destructing nuclear reactive ogre titans are bum rushing it. Now, the problem with Titanfall's MP was that it got kind of dull just because there wasn't a lot of depth or diversity from map to map, and I've taken an in-depth look at the problems with MP in past videos, but they don't suffer, I think, from the same problem in this new wave defense mode because they've really put some work into making sure each map has its own unique set of waves and types of enemies. Like the first time I played, it was 6 waves, each one getting gradually more difficult, with the grand finale being a combination of like a huge bum rush by those titans self-destructing I was talking about that want to self-nuke on your shit, and a barrage of mortar fire from these other titans that camp in the back of the map and shoot at your harvester with mortar rounds, and you gotta go get them. But then the second map that I played was on Rise, and it was only 2 waves, and the first wave was just one guy, just one Spectre sniper, and we killed it, and the guy in the intercom was like, wow, I was really expecting more opposition. And then he says, okay, you're on the final wave, hang in there. And we were like, where? Are we being trolled right now or what? But then the second wave was just this massive armada of enemies. It was like all 6 waves worth of enemies combined from the previous match all at once. It was a clusterfuck, and that round lasted probably as long, if not longer, than all 6 rounds from the match before. It was a unique experience, and that continued throughout the night. On each map, it felt like a genuinely different experience, and we get a new map, and I'd be like, oh nice, I'm excited to try this out on Cove. That'll be a fun map for this. I wonder how it'll play. And it was fun, and it was a pretty high quality piece of content considering it was free. You know, it was more than just slapping different rules on the same maps and AI. They built new AI, there's suicide bombing specters, sniping specters, there's cloaking bots that hover in the air and sort of cloak all their friends around them, there's mortar titans, they built an entirely new HUD. They obviously had to have all the voice actors come back in to say some new shit that is specific to this new mode, and this is on top of a wide range of high quality support and upgrades that Respawn has been quietly implementing into this game for a while now. I think Respawn wins this year's award for post-launch game support, not only because it's been effective support that has changed the game in meaningful and lasting ways based on player feedback, but also because so much of it has been at no cost to the consumer. There's a very deadly contrast to be drawn between Titanfall's free wave defense and Call of Duty's charging you $3 for some weed camo. So I got mad props for this new mode. It better fucking be in Titanfall 2. My best guess is Titanfall 2 drops around spring of 2016, 2 years from the release date of the original. Better have this mode come back, but this time on its own maps. In fact, I was honestly baffled it didn't have this game mode to begin with, when it first launched, and I said as much when it first launched. But anyways, that is my 2 cents on Titanfall's new update. Check it out if you have the disc. There's nothing to lose. You'll either like it, get a few extra hours of playtime out of that $60 you spent so long ago, or maybe you won't like it, in which case no harm, no foul, because it was free. And to anyone who has played, you know, what do you think of it? What do you think of Respawn's support for this game so far? What are your hopes for Titanfall 2? Please remember to rate the video. This is Batman signing out.
Yeah, they made it! Great work, team. Mission accomplished. We're on the way to pick you up.